On the Intentional Mind podcast, we are replaying some of the most popular episodes to date, and this is one of them. We're talking about simple habits that make everything else easier. So let's just get right to it. Here we go. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Intentional Mind podcast. I'm your host, Ange Barnard, and today we're talking about 3 simple morning habits that will make everything easier in your life. So excited to talk about this stuff because I got some resources for you, all the things. But first off, I want to say the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've noticed such a difference in my energy the past couple weeks. And I've noticed that I've been able to make so much progress on things that I was procrastinating on forever. And I really believe that this is due to not only the accountability that I brought into my life, but also how I've been starting off my mornings and that I've been prioritizing these 3 things. So if you're over here thinking, I want to improve on my morning routine, what I suggest you do is just to start very simply with 3 different habits that I'm going to tell you about. And I suggest that you give yourself 5 minutes for each one. That's 15 minutes for you. First thing in the morning. Earlier in the day is better because this is going to help your energy and it's going to help everything else after that just feel easier to you because you're going to start to generate anabolic energy. And because you're proud of yourself, right? Because literally you have some shifts happening in your body because you moved your body, all the good things. So I just suggest that you start this earlier. But with that being said, also the research shows that not only consistency is important when it comes to building a new habit, but also being flexible with yourself. That's how you stick with things. So what I like to do is give myself a plan B. I'm like, if I can't get this done first thing in the morning for whatever reason, plan A doesn't work out, I have a plan B. So plan B for me is usually around lunchtime. Like I say, I can still give myself 15 minutes around lunchtime. But this is the thing. I don't want to hear any excuses around how you're so busy in the morning, you have to be at work so early, or you have to care for all these other people and all the things. This should be a priority. I hate to shit on you over here, but you caring for yourself and getting your energy right, because so many do depend on you. I know that for sure. And your energy is contagious, that you do want to prioritize this. And you can do this with the 15 minutes. Okay, so let's go over what the things we are doing. So they all start with M's. I first learned about this from Amy Landino. So Amy Landino wrote the book, Good Morning, Good Life. And she also has a YouTube channel and she just has some really cool productivity hacks. And I just really like her personality. Anyhow, she mentioned mindfulness, movement, and mastery. All of those things that start with M. So it doesn't matter what order you do them in, but I'll tell you my order. So what I like to do is I wake up in the morning and I come downstairs and I've already prepped things the night before. I'm really big about this. It's if you want to have a good morning routine, right? You need to have a good evening routine. You got to set yourself up to have a good morning routine. So let's backtrack. Let me tell you what I do in the evening to make sure I have a good morning routine. And I do my 3 M's. So typically what I do, and this is doesn't matter even where I am. Even if I'm traveling a lot, I still do this where I will set my water out that I'm going to have first thing in the morning. Because right after I wake up and I go to the bathroom and pee and all that good stuff, I go and get some water. And I chug 16 ounces of water right when I wake up. Why? Because you were dehydrated overnight and water starts getting everything flowing in your body, everything working. And it also helps you wake up. If you are someone that tends to fall back asleep, let's say you hit the snooze a lot, one of the things that you can do if you want to break that habit is actually get out of the bed and drink water. It's going to be really hard for you to go back to sleep if you do that, especially if you drink cooler water and you expose yourself to a cooler temperature by getting out of the bed or whatever. That will help you wake up. So I like to do this just to wake me up, get everything flowing. So drink my water that I set out the night before. What else do I set out the night before? I usually like to get my workout clothes set out, my clothes for the next day. Like I just try to reduce as much decision making as I can the next morning. Another habit I have the night before is I like to plan my day the night before. And it's very simply put. Like all I do is like I will put my main goals for the next day. Like if there's one main thing you want to focus on the next day, what is it? And I'll just like write that into my planner. And that sometimes is the bare minimum of the planning I do, but it helps set my intention for the next day. When I'm like full out like A+ student over here, what I'll do is I will like plan out, block off everything for the next day. But that's like when I'm like, on my A game, which is not always, not every day. But bare minimum, what I like to do is just set the one thing that I'm going to focus on. Okay, so all this stuff is set up. I even set up my coffee for the next day. So as soon as I come downstairs, there's my water, drink it. I start my coffee. And this is the thing. Based on the research, you really should not be drinking coffee within the first hour of waking up. Why? Because it actually causes you to be tired and a crash later, and your body's still waking up, and you want that to happen naturally, not with coffee, yada, yada. You can look it up. There's a lot of research to support it. But this is what I'm going to tell you is I do drink my coffee within the first hour. And I know the negative impact of it, but there's so much pluses for me that I've already, I guess, created habits around. So what I do, drink my water, picture this. I got my coffee brewing, or you could do tea, whatever is your jam. And then what I like to do is go to move my body right away. I used to do my journaling before I moved my body, but what I found out is then I would push off like exercising. So I just want to get that movement in, and it actually helps me journal better. This is stuff that you got to do for yourself, is you're testing it out for yourself. What works best for you? We actually do this in the Commit to Your Vision program when we have a whole section where we start looking at morning routines, and we kind of test some things out. We're like, oh, this works. This doesn't work given my life. And there will be seasons in your life where what used to work for you doesn't work anymore. Because maybe now you have something new in your life, a significant other, a different setting that you're living in, a child, whatever it is. And you might need to readjust. We always need to readjust. So you want to be flexible with this. So with that being said, how I've readjusted is I will drink my coffee as I'm moving my body. So that's the first M, movement. Again, you can do these in any order. So it's kind of like a reward for myself where I move a little bit and I get my coffee. And I tend to do more, like usually like a 20-30 minute workout, but I started with 5 minutes. And sometimes when I'm traveling, it'll just be like, Ange, before everything gets crazy and you got to meet somewhere or you're going, whatever, I will do my 5 minutes of movement. And I have a 5-minute workout that is my jam that I do everywhere. It's super simple. I feel like anyone can do it. You may have done it with me at one point, but this is the thing. If you're interested in that, I've even had teachers email me and say that they've done it with their students and it's really shifted the energy with their students. And it's just like a fun thing. I've done it at speaking events and it's super easy to do. So if you want to know what that workout is and you want to know the app that I use that works anywhere, like when I travel abroad and everything, I just play my app and do my little 5 minutes. It makes me feel so good. We just did it actually recently for one of our Clarify Your Vision events. And I've had a lot of people tell me like, wow, it really does make a difference in my energy. Like I felt so much better after, and it was just 5 minutes. At first, when you told me 5 minutes, I rolled my eyes. But after I did it, I was like, yeah, this really makes a difference. Okay. So if you want that, what I created is a guide that has all the resources that I'm going to talk about today. And it'll have links to everything, my recommendations for 5 minutes movement. I even give you my links to my favorite 5-minute workouts. Like, you want to tone your arms? Girl, I got you. There's a 5-minute workout that I do on YouTube that you really see the difference in your arms. So I'm going to link that in that guide for you. I also got some other things like standing abs that you can do for 5 minutes. There's all this different stuff that you can do for 5 minutes. Okay. So that's going to be in the guide, and I will link it in the details section. But if you want to look it up, it's bit.ly/, let me see what it says, bit.ly/morning habits guide. And all you do is put in your name, your email, and then right away you get the guide. All it is a Google Drive document that I typed in all my resources there for you. Okay. So that's what I do. It was like, I'll do my movement. So either that looks like my 5-minute workout in some way, or it looks like some other workout I'm doing as I sip my coffee. But no matter where I am, you will find me moving and sipping coffee 5 minutes. Okay, so that's done. Check. And then after that is going to be, so movement, mindfulness, mastery. That's the order that I do it in. So what my mastery or my mindfulness looks like, this is something that you can decide. What is your mindfulness going to look like? Okay, so for me, my mindfulness looks like journaling, morning pages specifically. So if you're not familiar with morning pages, it's just a term that Julia Cameron, the author of The Artist's Way, had coined. And basically all it is like a brain dump onto paper, where you're just putting out your thoughts, you're just doing some journaling. So I will do that for a minimum of 5 minutes. Julia Cameron suggests that you do 3 pages, and I love that. When I had the practice of regularly doing 3 pages, oh man, it helped me feel so good because there is so much research to support journaling. So much. It's crazy, the benefits of journaling as far as like immune system, liver function improving, there was so much stuff when I was reading the research, like I was like, wow, all of that from journaling. Sounds like everybody needs to be doing that. Reduce anxiety galore, because instead of keeping all that stuff in your mind, you get to look at it. You get it out. Everyone should have a practice of that. And I actually suggest that you go back and you read it. Later on, like at the end of the week or the month. Some people might disagree with me on this, but I was listening to another neuroscientist talk about this, and she said it's very helpful for you to do that because you start to notice some patterns that you have. Like for me, what I noticed when I did this, when I would read back, is I'd be like, wow, you're still talking about doing that thing and you haven't done that thing. Come on, Ange. What's getting in the way? Oh, you have a lot of fear around this. Like I was able to see that stuff. So it was no longer like keeping me prisoner of it because like I saw it. So I think that's really important to do. So that's what mindfulness will look like for me. I also like to add in a form of meditation. And I like to do stuff that's quick. I give you links in that guide too of my favorite meditations. A lot of the ones I personally like are ones that are like sound baths. So there's like different sounds and they'll start like talking to get you into that, present grounded state. And then you're just left there listening to the sounds. And the reason I like that is because then I like to see what comes up for me and to notice, like, is my intuition telling me anything? Stuff like that. And sometimes I don't get that when I listen to a meditation that's a fully guided one because I'm just listening to the guided meditation and it's not giving me the chance to see what comes up. So the ones I specifically like are like a blend. It gets you in that state. And then it leaves the space for you to hear sounds and just see what comes up for you. So I also have links to those in the guide. So that's something else I do. And for me, something that's been so helpful to me to keep this practice going of mindfulness, movement, and mastery is being a part of Flown. I've mentioned Flown before on the podcast, FLOWN, like flow with N next to it, Flown. And Flown is so cool. Like it's this online platform, if you're not familiar with it, and you go on there and you do deep work sessions. So it's productivity, in a sense, sessions, but you get to decide what you're going to focus on. And what's really cool is the deep work sessions are 2 hours, and we also have power hours, which are 1 hour. And if it's 2 hours, you break in between, give yourself a break so your brain's not like stressed. There's so much science that supports everything that you're doing. You have accountability partners on Zoom. So all you do is you tell each other what you're focusing on at the beginning, and then you start getting focused on your stuff, whatever it is you want to work on. And you just leave your camera on. You can turn your camera off if you want to, but people are there for accountability. And then when the time is up, you go back to each other into your groups and you tell each other how you did. And it's so helpful to keep you on track. And people are working on all kinds of things, creative projects, work projects. Like some people are working the entire time and they just use the deep work sessions to stay focused on their work. Some people are cleaning. Some people will use it to exercise, wrap presents during the holiday season, like all kinds of stuff, whatever you want to do. It'll hold you accountable. And I love it for that reason. But I especially love what they call our takeoff sessions. And you can create your own takeoff session in your life. But what you do during the takeoff session is you do a little meditation together. And then they're only 20 minutes long. So you do a meditation together, and then you move into some journaling, like the morning pages stuff. And then you set intentions with each other. And you just say, hey, this is what I'm focusing on today. And then it goes back to a quote of the day, and then you move on to your day. So that was 20 minutes. Right there, that's the 3 M's. Well, not minus movement, but you have mindfulness, right? You have mastery, which is the next one I'm about to talk about. But mastery is just moving forward on anything that's important to you. And sometimes if you're going to spend just 5 minutes moving forward on something, it might be you just brainstorming your ideas, right? In that 5 minutes, writing down something, like giving attention to something that is important to you for 5 minutes. That's the mastery part. And what happens is this 5 minutes will start to pick up. When your brain starts to see, ooh, that felt really good to prioritize something that was important to me. Not just to a boss or a significant other or whoever else, but something that was important to me, that felt really good. And what happens is the brain's going to want to do more of that. So what we have found with people is, like, let's say you want to write a book, right? If you spend 5 minutes writing, your brain starts to identify as you being a writer. It's also about you training your brain. And it's like, ooh, that felt good. I made myself proud. Maybe I could write a little more and a little more, right? And then you start acting like the person you want to be. That's what I love about the mastery part. But in Flown, during those takeoff sessions, you can kind of dabble in all of those things, minus the movement part. Well, I guess you could add movement in there if you wanted to. But it's cool that you come together, you sit down, you do a little meditation together, you write in your journal, they'll time it out for you, and then you move back to intentions. And then right after that, you could move into a workout if you wanted to, or a quick movement, or do it right before. But I love that it basically gives you 2 of the 3 things and little bonus stuff in there that really helps you have a good morning. Okay, so since doing that has changed my life. So let's kind of forward into mastery. So I talked a little bit about this already, but I want to give you some more ideas around what could be considered mastery for you. This is about you, again, moving something forward that's important to you. Why do I want you to do this first thing in the morning? Because before you make your life about everybody else, think about what is on your heart, and can you make just a little progress on that thing? And like I said, even sometimes for me, it looks like I literally am brainstorming ideas, or I'm planning something related to one of my goals. And sometimes it kind of goes hand in hand with my journaling part. Like I will just get my thoughts out, and then I will move into like, okay, let's kind of plan out this project of mine that I really care about before I start answering everybody else's demands, Because what happens is, this is what I've noticed with myself, is I have a lot of resentment if I'm always working on everybody else's stuff and I'm not moving forward on my own goals. I've noticed that energy show up for me, where I just don't show up well because I'm like, oh, I didn't get to work on my stuff. Now I got to do this thing for someone else. And I've just noticed that about myself. So the thing that's helped me so much is doing these 3 M's, no matter where I am. In fact, even when I travel, it makes me feel so good when I know that I moved my body. Like sometimes, picture this, guys. Like sometimes we're traveling and everybody's like going to go get breakfast, let's say, right? And everyone's getting ready. And while everybody's getting ready, I would be like, okay, real quick, I got to do my 3 M's. Or I'll even say, you guys go ahead. I got 5 more minutes of something and I'll be right there. Because I know I'm going to show up so much better if I do these 3 M's. If I just rush into the thing, let's say everyone's getting breakfast and I just rush into that, there's just something where my energy feels off. But I'm telling you, just those 15 minutes for myself, game changer. So show up as such a more loving, joyful human being. And I really feel like that will be true for you too. So if you can just set yourself up for that, that's really going to serve you. But I want you to be thinking about the night before. Is there anything you can do the night before that's going to help prime you to do those 3 things? So an example is, like even setting out your journal. If you're going to journal for mindfulness, mindfulness might be meditation to you. It might be prayer. It might be quiet time. But let's say you're going to add in the journal in there. So you might pull the journal out, right? You might set out something that reminds you of the movement that you're going to do. And then the mastery, you might stick a little sticky note in front of something and put the thing that you're going to focus on in the morning. Or you might block it off in your calendar like the time before. Or you might even start where you decide, like what I had to do is decide that I wasn't going to work on anything for anyone else before 9 a.m. because I wanted to ensure that I had that time for myself. And that changes everything for you. I swear it will. Okay, so those are my tips for you: mindfulness, movement, mastery. Now, in that guide, I have a bunch of different resources for you. So if you want that, make sure you click on the link and you get it. I forget what else is on there. I mean, it took a while for me to type all the things, but even I have a link to Flown. If you do want to try out Flown, I have a referral link that's 25% off. So you can go ahead and click that, check it out. You can even try it out for free just to see if you like it. That might be something that's really helpful to you. The thing I want you to be thinking about too is getting accountability for yourself in all the areas that you are trying to make progress on. So for me, sometimes it looks like even just telling my husband, Ian, like, Ian, I'm starting this morning routine thing. Like, I'll tell you about it. But this is what I'm doing. Even that's helpful to me. And I'll be like, I'll tell you, like, I'll try to do this though. Add in the accountability where it's not just like you're telling them that you're going to do it, but you'll also tell them the progress that you've made on it. Like, it could be like sometimes at dinner time, I will tell Ian, like, I'm so proud of myself because I've been getting up, I've been doing my workouts, all that stuff, and he'll be like, oh, that's cool. And it just makes me feel really good. It's like if he had stickers, like he would give them to me. It just makes me feel good. But obviously I'm like fishing for like the compliment, but it works for me. It makes me feel good because I think there's all of us have that like kid inside of us that, we want to make ourselves proud and we kind of want those stickers. We want other people to be like, that is so cool that you did that, So think about that too. It's like when you were thinking about, this is a side note, but like complimenting someone, like a lot of times we compliment people on external things like, oh, I like that outfit or I like whatever. But think about complimenting people more around like the things that they've done, like the accomplishments, the inside stuff that it took. Like, I really admire your heart. I really admire that you kept pushing through even though it was hard. Like stuff like that. I'm trying to be like that more. Another thing I've been thinking about doing more of is like when I am with people, truly listening and not feeling like I always have to be talking, but like sitting back and being interested in them. Think about that. Next time you go out with people, like, can you practice that where you sit back and you just are curious and you ask them more and more questions and you'll notice their energy will shift. They will love talking to you and give them the space to do that. Because a lot of times we're like, oh, we get so excited. If you're like me, I get really excited and I want to share like different stories around things. And I forget that like, no, I want to create this space where you are also honored in it and where people around me feel like I see them. Like, that's the kind of person I want to be, but it takes a practice, right? Everything you want to do and any kind of person you want to be, any goals and dreams in your heart, you got to practice being that person. You're going to have to train yourself to be that person. That's what we do in Commit to Your Vision, is figure out what are the habits that we need? How do we need to show up? How do we train ourselves to be that person? And it always starts with the small things. This small stuff matters so much because this is the stuff that helps you get the energy that you need to move forward. And if with any goal that you have, any dream on your heart, you're going to need energy. And if you can focus on these small things, promise you, everything else will change from here. So start here. Start with the small stuff, the 3 things. Let's repeat what they are. Mindfulness. Any kind of mindfulness. Could be journaling. It could be meditation, prayer, quiet time, whatever feels good to you. Mindfulness, movement, mastery. And mastery is you moving forward on something that is important to you. So start with 5 minutes each. Track your progress. Have a plan B for yourself. Plan A doesn't work out. When are you going to do it? Lunchtime, right after work, or whatever. Make a plan for yourself. Think about that too. With anything you want to move forward on, add in the flexibility. Like, always be thinking like, this is my first intention of when I'm doing it and where. Always think when and where, and then have the plan B as well. That's something I wish somebody would have taught me way earlier in life, that like, okay, you have this goal and dream on your heart. When, where are you going to do that? Like right away, someone asks you when and where. And then, okay, and if that doesn't work out, what's your next backup plan? Then have the plan B too. So think about all the stuff. get all the guides and stuff and the details if you want them, and have the best day. Go out there and act like the person that you want to be, the person that's interested in listening to other people, that sees them, the person that takes care of themselves first thing in the morning. Because if you want to be a good leader in your life, not only to yourself, but to other people and all the people that you love, you know it starts with your energy, right? So get that in alignment and everything else will flow from there. All right, have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.